Now sunrise. Well, it's time now for this week's Family Matters segment. And this week, we're talking about emotional intimacy. I spoke with communications and relationship specialists Pamela Pressler and Melissa Sulkowski about the importance this plays in relationships. Right, so today we're kind of talking about emotional intimacy in relationships. Pamela, if you wanted to start off today, just talking about the importance about this and dive a bit deeper into it for us.
Thanks, Krista. So oftentimes couples will come into our offices and express feeling disconnected in their relationships. And sometimes they say things like, I feel like we're just roommates, or I feel like I'm parenting my spouse because all I do is take care of them. And it just feels like there's no connection between the two of us. And what we know in looking at this is that this is an indicator that people aren't feeling emotionally connected, and that they really need to spend time and learn tools for building that emotional connection in order to have a healthy relationship. So Melissa's going to share ways to do that so that people can feel better in their relationships.
So I think first and foremost, having that time to spend together is a high priority. And so we meet with a lot of people who, when we ask them, when's the last time the two of you had time together? It's maybe months ago. And so clearly it's going to be difficult to connect and build that relationship from an intimacy standpoint if we're not even spending that time together away from the hustle and bustle of everything else that can interrupt our lives. So I think first looking at how often do we spend time together, and for some couples scheduling that in can be very effective, again, because things get in the way. And then when we are having that time together, how are we communicating with one another? I have some couples who sometimes will take 1 week where they sit and kind of talk and sit in their relationship and connect in ways around effective communication, and find ways to communicate what they're needing with one another. And then the next week they just go have fun and they don't talk about anything relationally, and just enjoy the time together. So just building those things in becomes very important. And then also looking at where your boundaries are in your relationship, that you are consistently turning towards one another and leaning in rather than getting your emotional needs met elsewhere, whether it's extended family or, coworkers, whatever it might be, that you're really turning towards one another to have those conversations rather than away.
So what are some signs that someone may be lacking with their partner when it comes to their emotional intimacy?
So I would say when we're talking with people, what we hear are things like, I feel like, I said this earlier, but I feel like they're my roommate. Like we don't spend time together. We're not talking, we just kind of coexist in the same space. And another thing would be, one person saying, I feel like all they do is tell me what to do. They're bossing me around. They just lay out my lives. They tell me what to do, or they're controlling is another word that we hear at times. And so what that means to us is that their needs aren't being met by one another emotionally. And emotional intimacy is really one of the very significant foundational pieces of having a healthy relationship. So taking time to build this in is paramount to feeling good in a relationship and having longevity in the relationship.